On in Belvedere, Illinois, or around the world? Then tune to BNNSradio.com on your computer or your mobile device and give us a listen. That's BNNSradio.com. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and guest do not necessarily reflect those of this station, the station's network, any other affiliates under this network, or its sponsors. Unless they do, and then we'll totally take credit for them, because this is radio, and that's how we roll.
Here we go.
News, sports, comedy, politics, everything you would expect in a morning show. Faster than the fastest nightmare. Brighter than the dullest dream.
Right here.
Right now. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill. Grab your coffee and hang on. For the next 2 hours, the unexpected will haunt you, entertain you, and drive you absolutely insane. So let's get started. Here's Uncle Bill.
Well, thank you for that warm welcome this morning. I want to welcome everybody to the Morning Show with Uncle Bill, and hopefully we'll stay on the air this morning. I put out a message on our BNNS Facebook page that for all of those listeners out there that are faithful listeners to BNNS Radio, that we are going through a session or series of technical issues here with our website and the software that runs the website. And we've got the technicians working on it. And unfortunately, as fate would have it, the company that runs the servers that we work off of was supposed to be with us today and witness all of our broadcasting this morning and see if they could determine what the interruptions are and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, their family had a serious automobile accident last night, so he won't be with us today. And so we may have to work on it through the end of the week and through the weekend. So just be patient with us. We will be here. It's not that we're going off the air or we're going goofy. And if you get a repeat play of a program, for example, last night, Confessing Moments played like it was on a continual loop. The same thing happened with Gaither's Homecoming Radio at 8 o'clock. They're not starting correctly on time. Yesterday, Confessing Moments is supposed to start at 10:30, and it came on at 10:50. So if that kind of thing happens and you know the time that a show is supposed to air and it doesn't, just hit the refresh button, and it'll come up and it'll run okay. It's just something in the software that we haven't been able to locate yet. And, of course, like I said, the technicians that are working on that will be monitoring that, hopefully, according to his email, hopefully tomorrow. But anyway, you're listening to the Morning Show with Uncle Bill, and we welcome you and welcome our studio audience, who are very kind and patient today, and been a pretty ruly crowd so far. They started lining up early this morning to get in, and we appreciate you guys out there. You know, enjoy them donuts out there, and they were specially homemade. Karen made a whole fresh batch for you this morning. Next week we'll have some brownies. I was promised that. So that being said, this is our Wednesday edition of the morning show, and we've got some other interesting hot topics that we're going to get into here this morning on the morning show. And are we actually in the process of erasing history? Keep that in mind as we go through this morning show. And we welcome everybody that's in the chat box this morning, especially Miss Liz, who is taking some time out of her busy schedule to join us in the chat box today. And welcome, busy mom. And we always enjoy having her here. And let's see, like I said, keep that in the back of your mind as we go along this morning. Are we in the process of erasing history? All that and more coming up on this edition of the Morning Show with Uncle Bill.
know how to hold a grudge. I can send a bridge up in smoke. And I can't count the people I've let down, the hearts I broke. You ain't gotta dig too deep if you wanna find some dirt on me. But I'm learning who you've been ain't who you gotta be. It's gonna be an uphill climb. Oh, honey, I won't lie. I ain't no angel. I still got a few more dances with the devil. I'm cleaning up my act little by little. I'm getting there. I can finally stand the man in the mirror I see. But I'm better than I used to be. I pinned a lot of demons to the ground. Got a few old habits left, but there's still one or two I might need you to help me get. Standing in the rain so long, it's left me with a little rust. Put some faith in me and someday you'll see there's a diamond under all this dust. I ain't no angel. I still got a few more dances with the devil. I'm cleaning up my act little by little. I'm getting there. I can finally stand the man in the mirror I see. I ain't as good as I'm gonna get, but I'm better than I used to be. I ain't no angel. I still got a few more dances with the devil, but I'm cleaning up my act little by little. I'm getting there. I can finally stand the man in the mirror I see. I ain't as good as I'm gonna get, but I'm better than I used to be.
And I dedicate that song to Kim Dong over in North Korea, who he has a little bit to do with the devil yet, and he's trying to clean up his act little by little. He made an announcement that he was going to back off a little bit on his threat to launch some missiles at Guam. I think he got the message that the U.S. isn't going to play around with him any longer. And so he's got a few things to clean up yet. But anyway, that Tim McGraw song there kind of reminded me of Kim Dong. And, yeah, I called him Dung. He's nothing but a pile of dung. And why give him credit where credit is not due, right? 67 degrees in Belvedere as we begin this Wednesday edition with some scattered clouds today, 81% humidity throughout the day today, and winds are out of the east at 6 miles per hour. And for today, we have an 80% chance of some PM thunderstorms cropping up, and they're going to be scattered. So we don't know how they're going to affect us right here exactly in Belvedere, but in the area, well, of course, our listening area is the entire world. So somewhere you're going to get rain today. See, that's one thing about me as a meteorologist giving weather predictions or weather statements on the radio here. See, I can predict rain every single day of the week because no matter where you're at, somewhere somebody's going to get rained on. And Somebody's going to get sunshine. Somebody's going to have snow or something. So, I mean, I'm probably one of the most accurate meteorologists that we have on the airwaves today. Because all I have to say is you're going to get rain today. And if you're listening, you might. I don't have to be specific to Belvedere. However, my prediction for Belvedere today is some PM scattered thunderstorms. Whether it affects you individually or not, I don't go there. But there's going to be scattered thunderstorms in our area today. For tomorrow, also, I had plans for tomorrow, but the plans do, or the chances of rain do subside a little bit, down to 50% for tomorrow. But Friday's going to be a sunny day with 80-degree temps, so maybe I'll get to carry out my wishes on Friday. So for now, we're just going to leave it at a high today of 85 degrees with some PM thunderstorms cropping up a little bit later on in the day. Well, like I said, we have an awful lot to talk about today, so we're going to just jump right in because these 2 hours really fly by.
Big D, co-host on the morning show with Uncle Bill, right here on BNNS Radio. You'll wonder how you ever got along without him.
I truly feel like that cartoon character Lippy.
Yeah.
Lippy the lion and his companion Hardy Har Har.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh good. Oh my.
Why do you feel that way?
I just, you read the news and I can understand why people look at each other. And you can have two people read the same news article and then be out in the parking lot scrapping over being different views. It's oh my God. One day you read this and the next day you read the exact opposite.
And your point?
Oh no. Oh my.
I mean, we've been saying that for the last month, how confused people are, and understandably so.
Oh, and it's Bill, let's go back to what was it, several years ago. They had a guy take a school bus hostage down in Florida. Do you remember this story? And they chased it around for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
And then finally the guy started making some really wild threats towards the kids. And so the police took him out. And it was not an hour later they had a press conference. And literally there were people there who stood before the camera and claimed he acted too quickly, too irresponsibly, couldn't wait to kill somebody. And then the very next news story, and this is what tickled me. Why did he wait so long? The children are traumatized. Why didn't he take this guy out sooner? He's inept. He needs to be removed from office. And so the sheriff finally took the podium, and he's getting hit with these questions back and forth, back and forth. He says, you know what? It doesn't matter what I did. There is nothing I could have done that would have been right. He said, you people live in a dream world, and all you're wanting to do is create news. And he turned around and walked off the stage. Because no matter what he did, he was wrong. Well, Trump's hit the same wall. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill.
No, I said good for him.
Oh, but Trump's hit the same wall. The other day when he gave his response to Charlottesville, North Carolina, the very first thing I heard was, "Did you realize it took him 41 minutes to respond?" That's a quote. A newscaster actually on TV looking in the camera said, "Do you realize it took him 41 minutes to respond?"
Like the president is sitting around doing nothing, just waiting for something to happen so he can instantly respond.
Yeah, and then
Is that what they expect?
Well, apparently so. And later in the day, I heard other references to how long it took him to respond.
Well, but see, the news people, they just don't know how to report news anymore, and so they have to come up with something to try to crucify our leader. And
well, here today, now we have a couple of people who are just absolutely distraught over the fact that he acted and spoke so quickly. Why, he should have taken at least a couple of days and gotten all the facts in before he said anything. The whole narrative has been set up. It doesn't matter anymore what you think or say. You're wrong, and I don't care what side of the problem you're on. We don't know how to fix anything because everybody's wrong.
so, Mr. Wonderful, what is the solution?
I say push the damn big red button and let's start over.
And who are we going to start over with?
Who's left?
And who might that be?
I don't know.
Well, according to...
It can't be any worse than it is now.
According to reports, it's only going to be the elite or those in power that knows the strike is coming and go underground, and they're the only ones that are going to emerge. The average everyday executive, the average everyday shoe salesman, the average everyday burger flipper isn't going to be around anymore. So all we're going to have is a society of elites, even though we're not going to have a banking system anymore, that we're going to have to rebuild, restructure, and recreate, and so on and so forth. And if you want to start over, how far back do we go? Do we go back to the Ice Age? Do we go back to the medieval times? Do we go back to the early biblical times and recreate and start wars all over again? Are we going to play this life out in an endless loop of doing the same repeated things over and over and over again that we have done for centuries and years and thousands of years? Because it all seems to be like we're on a giant, just like the problems that we're having with my software on the show here is that everything seems to want to be playing kind of like it's in a loop. It's on a old 8-track tape, and it just continues to play in a loop, never ending. There is no end. And that's why society has gone over and over. Oh yeah, the issues may have the issues may have changed color. The issues may have changed their tone a little bit. But basically, when you get right down to the bottom line, which is what most people look at anyway, they don't care about the sentences or the figures that are above the double line at the bottom. They're looking at the total. What is the end? What is the final faction of what's happening here? In other words, if you go to buy a new car, what's the only thing you look at? You really look at what the bottom figure is how much that car is going to cost you. You're not really interested in all the details of how much the extra high-definition radio and the high-definition cameras and the backup cameras and all that. You don't care how much all that costs. You may have a concern that they're there, but you don't care how much they cost. You only care about the bottom figure, is how much it's going to cost you to take that car home. Same thing with rules and regulations. We don't care what the rule and regulation says and what it gives us permission to do or not to do. All we care about is the end result. And to coin your phrase, are we right or are we wrong? That's all we care about. Well, we don't care about all the rest of the stuff above that. And that's been going on since the beginning of time.
You brought up an interesting point. The only people, if we push the big red button.
I want to bring Craig in here because he's part of the show, and I want to open the floor for Craig's comments on this as well. Joining us also as on a regular basis now is our crack research analyst, and that is Craig, our third co-host on the show from out in Omaha. Good morning, Craig.
Morning.
How are you feeling this morning, sir?
Good. I hope everyone else is too.
Oh, we are. We're feeling good. Did you like my short little rant so far?
So far.
Okay.
I want it clear.
All right. You know, as negative as it is, it's nowhere near what yesterday was. Yesterday was pretty hardcore.
Yesterday you got to go back and...
it just wasn't very uplifting.
No, it wasn't. I was in a pretty negative mood yesterday.
Hopefully today we can talk about some stuff, if nothing else, towards the end of the show, where people leave with a little uplifting.
If you want uplifting, wear tighter underwear.
And we're back to the underwear thing now.
And I am the co-host. He is the co-host.
No, we have two co-hosts.
I've been demoted. No, what I'm saying is, you said something earlier. The only people left are the people who, I guess you want to say the important people. But that's fine with me because they'll starve to death telling each other what to do.
And then you have nobody.
So, okay. We climbed out of primordial ooze before, according to scientists. We evolved from other animals, according to scientists.
As someone who absolutely has to have medicine, both my wife and I both, if we don't have the medicine, well, my wife will physically die. She's a transplant. She had a kidney transplant, and without her medicine, she will die. And me, without my medicine, I refuse to live. I couldn't tolerate the pain. So those are the two things that pop in my mind more than food. I mean, we have a pantry that's full of food that'll last us probably a month. But without our medicine, no way.
I agree with you, Craig, but Miss Liz says something kind of interesting. I say leave history alone and let's make new history. New history, we are deft messing up there.
I didn't understand that post.
Well, in the new history, we're definitely messing things up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're doing that, Liz.
Can you get her in on the call? Can you do 4 of us?
I don't know. Liz, are you on a device that you can join us on Skype? Or are you on your iPad or whatever? She's gonna try to get on Skype with us. I'll give you a call.
I'm just.
We'll get her in. Diane's in there too, and she's wondering when those people go underground, if the nukes start flying and they go into the bunkers, are they going to go in without servants? Of course they are, because we don't have servants anymore, because that's slavery.
They're not servants, they're domesticated slaves.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, little side note, there are servant professions that
like hookers.
No, I'm talking about butlers. Yeah, hookers like buying a car. I don't care about the options, just what's the bottom line.
Nasty now, come on.
Well,
hey, I can cut your mic, you know.
I got Uncle Bill this morning. Dun, dun, dun. Da, da, da. Anyway, see, now do you understand, Uncle Bill, why I would want to be around afterwards? If something like that did happen?
Oh, I've been vowing that for years. I mean, and I've been arguing. And in fact, I'm going to take issue with you on that because you have stated emphatically you want to be around after the nuke hits because you want to see what's left. And I've told you I don't want to be here. What is there to survive after a nuke attack?
And see, you don't listen to me. I did not say I wanted to be around to see what's left.
Oh, yeah, you have.
I
said
yes, sir. I wanted to...
the archives, and I'll find it. Because
I'll side with Bill on that one.
Huh?
I'll side with you on that one. I do remember you saying that, D.
I said I wanted to be around to be a pain in the butt.
No.
Okay. You pull up the archives. I know what I said. Because that's exactly what I would do. I would be a pain in... When they started sticking their little heads up out of their gopher holes, I'm going to be a pain in their butt.
That's not what you said.
It's okay to change your opinion, too.
Yeah, we don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, that's not what I said.
Is it that big a deal, gentlemen? Who's right?
After 8 years with Bill Vaughn, yeah.
Okay.
My God.
I feel like all three of us are standing in a room and I got a hand on each one of your chest keeping you back from each other.
No, because there's only one person right here and it's me.
Oh. Oh.
I mean, that's the way it is. I run the show. It's me. I'm right. You're wrong. And that's the way it's going to end up. I'm like every other leader in the country. I'm right. You're wrong. So shut up.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't hurt yourself.
Hi, Miss Liz.
Hey.
Yeah,
joining
Bill,
us is joining us is our one-time program director, Miss Liz, who seems
when
to
I feel like coming in.
She dropped off the face of the earth there for a while.
Okay, I have a couple questions just because I'm curious how it works. Liz, can you see me?
I can see you.
Dee, can you see me?
Yeah, you're a little fuzzy, but go ahead.
Okay, and then the last question, Bill, how many people can you get in on a Skype call?
As many as I want.
So you could get Diane also.
Sure. I don't know if Diane's on Skype or not, but...
Okay, so then I wonder how many... Is it a matter of bandwidth that you can only get so many and then it starts getting pretty bad?
It depends on what you want to pay. Because it's a pay thing.
For the bandwidth?
Yeah.
You're not paying anything for Skype?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't pay.
Well, no, there's a free account, but you can't add 10 people to your call either.
Oh, okay. And since you pay, then you can add however many. Right. So how many can you add with your account?
I really don't remember if there's an exact number. All I know is I can have conference calls.
That would be a fun family thing to do some Sunday afternoon.
Family reunion?
You and your sisters get me on there and maybe even Aunt Marge.
Oh, we've done that.
Anyway, we're getting away from topic, but
in fact, I called my sisters the other day, and I had them on the line, and I said, every man's dream, a threesome. What the heck. But anyway, they laughed. That's all I was intending to do, was to make them laugh.
Oh, Diane says she's been on the show with 10 people that are all on cams except her. Wow.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that would show up on your YouTube.
Well, that's Dee don't have the capacity to switch that many people.
But he's on. If there's 5 of us on your call, Bill, and Dee's one of them, Dee on your YouTube, what would that show up? Would it show out on one screen, or does it flip back and forth?
No, he's got to flip from person to person.
You have to manually flip?
I can actually have all of you on one screen. Or I can break you up into different people.
But I'm not on screen, right?
No.
Just curious how things work. Sorry to detract from the show, Bill.
No problem. So, Liz, how are you doing?
Keep him busy.
We can believe that.
Yeah, our little warrior's in school now, so I take her to school 3 days a week, half days, and then we have therapy 4 days of a week. So school, then we run to therapy.
So how's her progression coming along?
It's working. It's a lot of work. Trying to build her up the endurance to put up with such a long day. We have hit or miss days still, as we do in general for normal people. But, besides that, then you got the doctor's appointments here and there, and sometimes you have to knock off either a therapy day or a school day to go do a doctor's appointment.
Yeah. So are you going to go without power today?
No. When we were discharged from the hospital from the beginning, we were given a contact list of people to contact, like Georgia Power, the water, various things like that you have to have. And just to let them know the circumstances that obviously they can't just turn our water off. They can't just turn our power off. And if, big weather comes through, her nursing company that she gets her nursing from will call, then the fire department, police department are notified, and they come and check on us and stuff like that.
So David's Facebook post today was just a general question to people?
Yeah. But then they contacted him just kind of, because he reached out to them and said, hey, and he's like, no, we rerouted. So everybody else out here will lose power except for our house.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they have to. It's kind of, because of being her disability and stuff like that. So it's,
All right. Very good. All right, getting back to my original question, are we erasing history?
No.
Well, they want to take down every statue. I've got a picture up in front of me showing them with a crane and removing Jefferson. Anyway, George Orwell made a comment back in 1984. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book has been rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right.
I think it's just sad all this is happening.
Doesn't that sound quite familiar? Everything is changing day by day, minute by minute. Somebody comes up and is offended by a rebel flag. It's got to come down. Somebody walks up and is offended by the American flag, it's got to come down. Let's take a moment to reflect just a little bit I don't want to get into a big, long discussion on it, but let's reflect for just a moment on the national anthem and some of our NFL players who are now taking the Kaepernick stance, and they're going to sit down. They're not going to kneel. They're not going to, but they're just going to sit for the national anthem. And if that was a team member on my team, they would be off the team immediately. Their pay would be cut immediately. And put them in the breadline, see how quick they know what freedom really is. But that being the case, the NFL commissioner has stated that they will respect a player's right to sit during the national anthem because we have to respect everybody's right.
Now, I have to believe that came from his lawyers.
I don't know.
His lawyers told him that if you restrict any of their playing, then they can sue you for stifling their
rights.
Yeah.
Yep, I have to agree with that one.
You actually put it in their contract. Now, there was a video I was watching this morning of a coach, and he took his basketball players, and he made them stand up and line up on the gymnasium floor. They had to stand at attention, and as they were standing there, in marched a bunch of military carrying chairs. They placed these chairs in a row right in front of the players. As soon as those chairs were in place, in walked a veteran from every military source and some from probably every war that we've been involved with and the ongoing service. And he had them all line up in front of those chairs. And he turned to his players and he said, "Now, you did not earn these chairs. You did not earn," and he went on with this long speech about their education, their ability to play basketball, their talent, none of that, and he went on through a whole list of things, none of that earned that chair for you. In other words, these are the same chairs they would sit on when the game was in play. In other words, to sit in on our team lineup, you would be sitting in those chairs. Nothing you have done in your life right now has earned you a right to those chairs. However, those men and women have. They earned those chairs. They gave up their time. They interrupted their education. They interrupted their desire to play sports. They interrupted their family life. Some of them gave their lives to earn the right to sit in that chair. You earned your freedom from them giving you the right to sit in that chair, and so on and so forth. And then he told them all, when we play the national anthem before a game, you will stand straight up. You will stand for the national anthem. You will stand straight. You will stand tall. You will not be fidgeting with your jersey. You will not be tugging on your shorts. You will not be swaying back and forth. You will not be rolling your eyes or tipping your head or looking around. You will be crossing your heart, and you will stand at attention during and the singing of. And if you wish to sing, I'm not going to tell you you have to, but if you wish to sing along with the national anthem, you have that right. If you don't want to sing, you have that right too. But if you do not follow these rules, you will not play. Now, who's going to sue him?
The AF, American Civil Ace, what's the name of them idiots?
ACLU.
American. Yeah.
ACLU.
I could see them jumping in there and suing.
Let them.
The Southern Poverty. Yeah.
I'm sure he's ready to take them on.
But see, here's the sad part. It doesn't matter whether he's ready to take them on. We have too many judges now that will legislate from the bench, and he'll be wrong.
That's okay.
No, not financially.
However, but you see, you've got to stand up for what you believe in. And if that means being removed as a coach of that team, he does not want to coach a bunch of disrespectful idiots who are not willing to honor the freedoms that were given to them and the national anthem, which represents that freedom. And it's a matter of principle. It's a matter of ethics. It's a matter of, I don't want any part of it. And that, he can go flip burgers at McDonald's. He can go work in a factory somewhere. He can go somewhere. And I know there's a lot of people out there that would be honored to have a man of his stature working for them. He doesn't have to coach basketball teams. But see, everybody is so quick to give up on the guy. Everybody is so quick to give up. And that is what irritates me, is the fact that people have ethics. People have morals by which they live by, morals that by which they're willing to fight, die for, and everything else. But yet, when the pressure gets put on them, they mush up. They get weak-kneed. They get scared. I might lose my $100,000, $600,000 job, because money becomes their idol. It's more important to them to make all that money and give up your ethics and give up your code that by which you were brought up to believe in. He was probably a man of 60, so he probably had parents that respected America and the rights and the things we stand for in America in reality. And are you willing to give up all those just to coach a basketball team of a bunch of disrespectful idiots? You want to take away my chair? You want to take away my microphone because I'm voicing my ethical, my moralistic opinion about how people should act when the national anthem is played and when the flag is displayed? Take it away. I don't care. I'll find something else to do. I'll go fishing. Now, I don't expect everybody to agree with me 100% on that, because some people will argue all day long that, well, I've got to take care of my family. There's ways you can take care of your family, and there are companies out there that would highly respect you for standing up for your moralistic beliefs and those things that you were taught to respect. Okay. Door's open.
No, I mean, I'm absolutely 100% in agreement with you. And I'm waiting to see what happens after the backlash that Kaepernick's caught. I'm waiting to see what happens.
Well,
because look, you have the right to disagree. I get it. And I will fight to the death your right to disagree. But it does not, there is nothing in the rules that says I have to support you. And there's nothing in the rules that says you don't have to deal with consequences of your actions.
Well, here's a prime example of exactly what you're saying. Fish fillet. When Chick-fil-A, I'm sorry, when Chick-fil-A came along and stood up for their rights and refused to serve certain people and closed on Sundays and so on and so forth, and people made a big fuss about it. But who's still serving Chick-fil-A's today?
Chick-fil-A?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They actually sold out all restaurants sold out of all their food and stuff that same day that happened.
And how many people that really, really believe in the American way went out in strong support of them? Stood up for.
They're not pro football. You know, it's nice to say, well, fine, you're going to support and let this guy on your team because even though he's doing this stuff, fine, I'll throw away my season tickets. No, people don't do that.
Attendance was down 20% after Kaepernick.
Oh, I stand corrected then. I'm very surprised.
And there are people right now that are angry with this new guy, and I apologize, I don't remember his name. The new guy that came out of retirement and as refusing. I mean, come on, the guy comes out of retirement, was given an honorary position to recreate his career, and then this is the respect that he gives back to the people. And the fans, they booed him off the field the other day at the last game. They booed him, and they promised to boycott any game that he appears at. So you might see the attendance drop considerably because there are a lot of honorable people still out there that believe if you're going to play that way. Look what they did to baseball. Years ago, baseball used to be the sport. Yeah, I think it had a better standing in the sports field than the football did. Because I remember way back in the 50s, 60s, and so forth, baseball was the language.
I know your dad was obsessed with it.
Absolutely. And
I saw him one time watching 2 games at the same time. He had his regular set and a little one sitting on top of it.
There you go. And there were baseball pools during the World Series and during the season. And it was just, I mean, everybody was talking baseball. You heard very little of professional football. But then when the baseball players got so high and mighty and went on strike for more pay, then baseball died. And how many years has it taken for baseball to come back? And has it ever fully recovered from those years though that they were on strike?
Not here in Omaha.
Exactly my point.
I mean, Omaha has the College World Series. That's a huge deal in Omaha. But when that's not going on, it's not a huge deal in Omaha. Baseball's nothing like it was when in the 70s when I was a teen.
You used to have the Royals play there, Kansas City Royal, minor league.
Yeah, they've got a little bitty team that moved. They made a smaller ball field. But in the 70s, you know, Bill, that never occurred to me. Baseball was the thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And now football has overtaken baseball by a long shot.
Weren't the pro baseball team, weren't they on strike for quite a while?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
In fact, they ended up closing that season.
That's right.
If memory serves, they ended up closing the season, and they said, we'll get it settled and then start up again next year.
Mm-hmm.
And there were concerns, okay, are the fans going to come back?
And their stands were empty for a long time. Go ahead, Dee.
No, I was going to say, I remember it because, and I've told this story before, we were sitting at the fire station in Vinings. Now, here's baseball players, a lot of them making $1 million or more a year. And they actually have volunteers out, and they came by the station at a time when we were trying to fight. We were fighting with county commission just to get a cost of living raise. I mean, we're talking seriously of adding after taxes maybe $30 a week to my paycheck or a bi-weekly paycheck. And they came by and wanted us to sign a petition to support these players and to get them more money. Now, I'm sorry. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Let's see. You play a game that millions of kids play around from high school down, play every year around this country for nothing. And you make 10 times a year or more than what I make, but you don't put your life on the line to play the game. And you want me to support you.
You know, Dee, and I don't mean to just be blowing flowers your way, but you see memes on Facebook about military people, whether they are actually in combat or not. When they sign on the dotted line that, yes, I'm going to join the military, they are writing a blank check to the United States that I'm willing to give my life if needed. And really, there's many professions in the United States, such as firemen, police, where you put your life on the line, and they're not recognized like these. Just what you said, there's people that are paid outrageous salaries to play a game. Let me underline that. To play a game. It's backwards. It's absolutely backwards.
Well, here, take a look at it this way, Craig. Have you noticed in this country the people who are willing to give the most almost make the least in weighing in what you have?
Are you talking about in professions?
Granted, you have to have smart, intelligent people who can design things and can do this and can do that. But how much brain power do you want when your house is burning down and you're stuck on the second floor?
And something else just popped into my head. I don't think it ties into your last comment, but these players that are in these professional players, they really are the top of their field. They have talents that most other people do not have. And we're all born with our own talent, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, playing the piano, playing the flute. There's people that have God-given talents. So I'm not saying that they don't deserve an income for it, but I think that the income is they're overpaid. They're overpaid because they're getting a portion of what the sport brings in.
Yeah, well, see, I'm not going to go so far as to say they're overpaid. I'm really not.
To play a game,
but when
I think
you're
they are.
When you're making over $1 million a year, when you're making 15 times what somebody who's willing to put their life on the line for you when you're in trouble, and you want to cry and whine about, oh, I need more money, and then get mad because I don't support it? No.
Well, it goes along. Something else that kind of goes with, you're talking about the salary. When they're whining, when people agree with them, hey, they need more, they need to be paid more because look at all that the NFL is bringing in. Well, where do people think this money's going to come from? The people that are invested in that team, that have stocks in that team, that run the team and all that, they're not going to cut their salary so that the players can get more money. They're just going to raise the prices of the ticket. It's in the
well, let's not limit this to just baseball, football, or basketball sports players. Let's limit it. I mean, you got to look at all sports. I mean, look at what people play a simple game of golf, bowling, any kind of sport. But let's not limit it to sports. Let's take it all the way to where it really deserves, and that is, let's take it to the entertainment world. And let's take it to motivational speakers who travel the country making billions of dollars, millions of dollars for doing nothing more than giving their opinion, trying to motivate people to carry on and to do things. And
preachers like, is it Benny Hinn?
Yeah.
The money that he makes is obscene. Jesus just got to be rolling.
Same thing with Joel Osteen.
Osteen,
yeah. I believe these people do make. They just, in my personal opinion, I believe that they deserve an above average salary because they have above average talents. But I think that it's gotten so much over what it should be. The actors, what Bill said, the actors and all of that. I believe that they should make money, but I think that the values that the country has allowed throughout the years for these people to make just ungodly amounts of money, it's just weird if you stop and think about it. Just what this conversation started out to be. Firemen and police make middle to low middle income.
But let's go back to our original discussion. This kind of thing took a left here. These guys with the NFL, like Kaepernick, you sign a contract. You sign a contract to do a job. That job is to play a game. Now, if I work for XYZ Corporation and I sign a contract to do a job, XYZ company can tell me that during the hours I'm representing that company, I have to behave a certain way, do a certain thing, be a certain person. And if I sign that contract, I agree to follow that. Now, 6 months later, I get fired for not doing what I agreed to in the contract. I can't come back and say, oh, well, they're violating my freedom of speech by not letting me act a fool.
Was standing for the flag part of Kaepernick's contract? Do you see what I mean? Is that part, can they hold that against these players that are kneeling, fist in the air, or whatever it is? Can they hold that against the player? Because is that specifically mentioned in the contract?
But if you look, it's probably not specifically, no. But if you read these contracts, how many of these players?
There is a strong, I just agree, it may not be in specific writing that you must stand for the during the national anthem, but then again, it might be. I've not read a professional sports contract, but I do know for a fact there is a code of conduct in those. In other words, the way you represent that team outside or off the court or off the playing field is a part of your contract.
That's right. Look at Cam Newton. He's been fined a couple of times for not following the dress code. Other players have been fined and benched because they brought a less than desirable light on the team. But yet, to make Kaepernick and these other players stand by that contractual part of the agreement, now suddenly everybody's afraid of being sued. Well, screw them. If they want to sue me, they can sit, okay, you don't play until we resolve all of this one way or the other.
See, you're just reiterating basically what I said in my first rant. You speak your mind, and if the players don't want to go along with it, they have a choice. Either quit the team, follow the rules of your coach, or go after the coach. And if the coach loses, so be it. But are you going to have the respect of the rest of your team? Are you going to have the respect of your school? Are you going to have the respect of your fans, and so on and so forth? Because when this coach brings in and I thought it was a very effective way to emphasize the real reason you're allowed to play baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is. In this case, it was basketball. That these servicemen, military, are the ones that earned you the right to play basketball in a free society.
Let me ask a scenario, and this is kind of going the full circle around. What teams Kaepernick play for?
The last team he played for was 49ers.
Okay, let's say the 49ers. Let's say that the coach has final decision about whether he plays or not. That the coach does not have to answer to his higher-ups or any stockholders or anything. That the coach has unilateral decision. Let's say that the coach tells Kaepernick, fine, you want to do that, you're not going to play. And the coach puts his foot down and says, absolutely, this is going to happen. You're benched. Do you think that, compare it to Chick-fil-A when the guy says, we're not going to be open Sundays because we want that for family. And all these people, wasn't there a homosexual thing in there somehow too? Oh, he just casually mentioned he didn't believe in homosexual marriage. And of course, the gay community, we're going to boycott and all that kind of thing. And then Chick-fil-A, just what Ms. Liz says, that there were people lined up, they sold out and all that kind of stuff. Do you think that if this coach of Kaepernick would put his foot down and say, fine, you're done, you'll no longer play all season long, do you think the fans would stand behind that coach, even though Kaepernick is taking down the team? With not keeping the team from winning as much. Do you think that the fans would stand behind him like people did behind Chick-fil-A?
Sure, some of them would.
On a per capita basis, I think you'd find more people stand behind the coach than the player. There's going to be the creep liberal out there that's going to stand behind Kaepernick, which there are people that are standing behind Kaepernick and also this new dude. And they're sticking up for him and his right to sit on a cooler during the national anthem.
Do you think they'd stand like they are as strong as they did for Chick-fil-A? Do you see what I mean? The guy from Chick-fil-A was threatened that, okay, we're going to shut your business down. If they did that with the coach, fine. If he's going to sit down, then... Well, but and then end up, the fans turned around and now the 49ers are the most popular team. You see what I mean? Do you think it would be to the same degree?
Well, I think the coach would be making a vital mistake, a fatal mistake, if he said, you're not playing. All he has to do is not take his name off the roster. He doesn't have to say a word to Kaepernick or any other player that refuses to stand for the flag. All he has to do is take their name off the roster.
What do you mean off the roster? I don't know what that means.
Take his name off the playlist. He's still on the team, but he's the guy that sits on the bench the whole game. No playtime. No playtime. No position at all to be able to display his talents.
I wonder if there's a clause that he has to play so many in Kaepernick's contract that Kaepernick says, okay, I'll sign the contract, but I get to be able to play at least this many.
No, because all that coach would have to do would be to let's just use Kaepernick for an example, but Kaepernick currently is not playing ball because nobody will hire him. So where's all the lawsuits? Where's all the support for Kaepernick to play football? Nobody wants him.
Well, that would be silly for this other guy to come out and do it then if no one.
This is what's going to happen. But you see, all this coach should have to do is to move him from the active team and put him on the practice team. You know that every team out there has two teams?
No.
They have a playing team and a practice team. They have guys that come out to play football that do nothing but play defense against the main team that goes out on Sundays that plays football in front of the cameras. The other guys, they're just there for practice, and they're the opponents. That's all they're hired for. And from that group of men, they find additional talent. So at some point, you'll move from the opponent team or the back team up to the playing team. But you can put Kaepernick on the opponent team, and that's where he stays. Nobody ever gets to see him play in front of the camera. I mean, you can beat this problem in sports. We're talking about sports. You can beat this problem in many different ways.
Now I know, comparing it to what I'm used to, I know in an office environment, no matter how talented you are, if you're stirring things up to where you're a distraction in the office, they will find a way for you to no longer be there, no matter how talented you are, because you're distracting from everyone else drags down production.
For the vast majority of people that have been relieved of their job, they could be one of the finest performing employees that a company can have. But if you challenge the company in any fashion, you challenge their rules, you challenge their dress code, you challenge their whatever, the company has ways of dealing with those type of people. They're going to make your job either so miserable you're going to quit, or they're going to put you in a position where you no longer have authority and or make major decisions, so on and so on. You might push them up. They can eliminate your position. I've seen numerous people who have been let go from their work, not because they weren't doing their job. They just eliminated their position. And there was no room for replacement.
That's the way my company gets rid of people in the past. Is they eliminate their position, wait about 6 months, and then decide, we really do need that position, and hire someone else.
See, I did not want to mention your company, but your company was in the back of my mind. But I didn't. You did it. I didn't.
That is the way they do it.
But there are ways to treat disrespectful people. And these people have just got to stand back up for their ethics, for their morals, and stand up, act up, and speak up for what you truly believe in. And not be afraid of it. So what if you lose your job? There's always other jobs out there, and I know there are people out there that are looking for your type of individual because they have too many stupid, rabble-rousing rebels in their agency that they kind of have to leave them there simply because that position on the assembly line has to be filled. And if it means that you go from being an executive for a major company down to working a assembly line and working your way up the ladder to another prestigious position, so be it. I've done it. I've done it many times. I had to quit my job as a police officer, which I dearly loved and would have been there for over 30 years at least. And I was not ready to quit at 23 years. I was still a young man. But I wasn't ready to quit, but I was forced to by my medical situation. But I didn't let that kill me. I didn't let it take me out of the running. I became highly recognized in the CASA organization. I became a valuable employee for another business in Belvedere, and then I worked for a major banking firm in running and maintaining 25 different locations, building-wise, maintenance-wise. And so there's always jobs that you can do. No, I wasn't an honorable police officer anymore. When I got booted out of the military, when I got booted out of the Air Force for a medical condition, did that stop me from pursuing another career? Absolutely not. I could have sat down on the curb and cried, "Oh, the Air Force kicked me out, and you owe me something now. The world owes me. The United States owes me because I was wrongfully treated." I have a guy right now that works for me, and he got illegally let loose from his job because he has a slight disability, and he has MS. And it affects his one arm. However, the arm can still be used, but it's just a little bit slower. And along comes a new boss, and she immediately lets him go. I'm not going into all the details of it, but he is immediately let go. Wrongful firing. I'm just going to, he was let go wrongfully. Did that put him down? Did that stop him? No. He fought, and he was denied disability. Despite what the doctor said, he was denied disability. Did that stop him? No. Monday night, he told me that he was awarded. He just got the news that he was awarded his disability. But is he stopping there? No. He's taking classes to become an AM something, American Disabilities representative, where he knows that the company that he worked for is in violation because they do not have anybody on their staff that is represented by a disabled person under the American Disabilities Act. So he's right now in the process of getting his certification to become that representative, and he's going back to the company that he used to work for, and he's going to hit him right in the face with it, that you don't have this position, which is a federal violation, and I am certified, and boom, he gets his job back. Now, it hasn't played out yet, but he is striving strongly for that to happen. So my point of this whole bizarre going on here is simply too damn many people give up. Too many people in position, they're so afraid of being fired or losing their job that they just flat give up, or they yield to the liberal. They yield to the pressure point. You think this NFL commissioner is going to garner support from the NFL fans? Absolutely not. This guy's going to fall. I guarantee you, he will fall. He will either retract his statement if he wants to keep his high-paying, prestigious job as NFL commissioner, or the fans are going to reciprocate by boycotting the games. It's that simple.
This topic has to be playing very, very, very hard in every other team out there, be it hockey, be it baseball, football, all the other coaches. I'm sure this topic has been brought up with the players, between the coaches and the players.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can imagine what goes on in the locker rooms. I can imagine what goes on in the bars after the guys get done playing football and they go sit in a bar and talk about all this kind of crap.
We all know someone out there that they call them a sociopath, that they're constantly stirring things up. They love drama. A lot of the activists that are out there for various different things, we all know someone who does that. Just if it wasn't the American flag, he would be doing something else. And I wonder if Kaepernick is one of these kind of people.
Absolutely.
That he's never going to be happy.
Look at Dennis Rodman. Look what Dennis Rodman did. Wearing a wedding dress out onto the basketball court.
They always find ways to get rid of people.
Exactly. Dennis Rodman ended up a nobody. He ended up playing for some ancient or a foreign team and so forth. I mean, his name is still out there. Oh, yeah, we still remember Dennis Rodman.
But we remember him for being an idiot, not for being, for his talent.
But his name's not in the news anymore. He's not making headlines. He's not making millions of dollars like he used to. He was a wonderful basketball player. He was an absolute phenomenal basketball player. But he was an absolute idiot. He was a disappointment. He was a disgrace to the team. Flamboyant.
That's the term I was looking for. He was very, very flamboyant. That's when someone mentions Rodman, that's the first thing I remember him for is flamboyant, not his talent.
And it brought, I mean, the same thing with the American Wrestling Association. Those guys are perfect examples of being flamboyant. The more flamboyant they are, the more recognition they get.
But that's what they're known for now.
I know.
They're not known for talent anymore.
Well, yeah, you and I remember the wrestling matches that used to be held in the Omaha Coliseum.
Vern Gagne, Greg Gagne, they were known for their talent.
Absolutely, they wrestled, and it was no fanfare. None of them had pretty women roaming around the arena, antagonizing people and throwing chairs into their person, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't come out with all the hieroglyphics going off and all this, that, and the other that they do. And that's why I won't watch modern wrestling today.
It's nothing like it used to be.
Absolutely not. And you and I know for a fact that we used to hang out with the guys down at the YMCA, professional wrestlers. I did work for Vern Gagne. Of course, there's a lot of listeners out there. Vern who?
Yeah, right. Well, he was even before my time. He was your, and my mom thought he was gorgeous.
Exactly. Mitsu Arakawa. I can give you a whole list of names of people that Ivan the Terrible. You remember Ivan the Terrible?
Oh yeah. A.D.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it was Greg Gagne, who was Vern Gagne's son, and Ivan Putski, which was a Polish hammer, and Baron von something or other that would use the claw. Okay, you're about the same age as me, right?
Yeah.
About 55?
Yeah.
Well, when you were a kid, were any of those names familiar to you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I didn't know if that was just an Omaha area thing or if it was nationally.
In fact, on Saturdays from noon until 11 p.m., I think 11 was the last one, they did all the different wrestling organizations from around the country.
So, Miss Liz, how old are you?
39.
Okay, so you're about the same age as my oldest boy. What was the big name wrestlers when you were a teen?
Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan,
okay.
Was it Undertaker, names like that.
Okay, even Diane said, I kissed Chris Adams before he went to American wrestling. So apparently wrestling's a big deal over there also. Come on, Diane. You're not typing fast enough, dearie. It was, but not now.
Yeah, see, I think American wrestling has fallen off, and
well, I think it's because of the flamboyant stuff. I think that's why.
And again, I'm just using that as an example. Is that's a type of stuff that brings the weirdos out. In my opinion, it brings the weirdos out because, when I watched wrestling, it was because of their talent. It was of their ability. Vern Gagne, or I'm sorry, can't remember his he used to fight with his feet. Do you remember who he was, Craig?
No, I don't remember any fighter fighting with his feet.
He was more of a professional using his feet than he was his upper body strength and so on and so forth. But anyway, he was in a match, and I distinctly remember it. I can't think of his name, but anyway, Argentina. His last name was Argentina. But anyway, he did a body drop with the guy, and the other wrestler literally swallowed his tongue. And he hit with such force that the tongue fell back into his throat, and he was actually choking to death on the mat. And Argentina, boy, the name is coming back slowly. But anyway, he went over there and he helped the guy. He pulled the tongue out of his throat and got him back to breathing. And, but that's the way the sport was back in those days. Those guys respected each other. They wanted to kill each other in the ring. But I can tell you, we went down to the Copacabana, and you know who owned the Copacabana, Greg?
No,
The Olsen brothers.
Really?
They owned the Copacabana in Omaha, and that's where all the wrestlers hung out. Beer and steak after the wrestling matches on Saturday night.
That was big fame, is that all these wrestlers that were huge enemies in the ring, and then afterwards you'd go to a bar or restaurant, must have been a Copacabana, and you could see them all in there drinking and eating with each other.
Absolutely, because, the bars were basically closed. The Copacabana was basically closed because, for obvious reasons. But Stan and I could go over there because his brother owned the bar, and we used to sit down there and we used to watch these guys drink beer, eat steak. We'd go out and joke around. We were just kids. We were kids, and they enjoyed us. We had fun with them. And then we'd go down to YMCA and watch them work out. We'd watch them take steel chairs and slap each other, crack each other over the head with a chair.
So do you think, back to what we were talking about, do you think that they were big, highly paid athletes?
Oh, not highly paid, but they were big athletes.
Okay, so if they'd gotten in the ring and dissed the American flag, what would have happened to their career back then?
They would have been out immediately.
That's what I think.
They wouldn't have tolerated it for a second. You would not have seen any wrestler come out with an American flag draped over his shoulders and then just thrown over the ropes in the corner and that sort of thing back in those days. Absolutely not. But anyway, we could go on and on about that, and but we do need to take a quick break here and give everybody a chance to breathe, everybody a chance to get another cup of coffee or whatever it is that you do during the break. But be that as it may, we'll be back, and maybe, just maybe, we'll let Big D say something in the next 40 minutes. We'll be right back.
I was raised off of Route 3, out past where the blacktop ends. We'd walk to church on Sunday morning, race barefoot back to Johnson's fence. That's where I first saw Mary on that roadside picking blackberries. That summer I turned a corner in my soul down that red dirt road. It's where I drank my first beer. It's where I found Jesus. Where I wrecked my first car. I tore it all to pieces. I learned the path to heaven is full of sinners and believers. Learned that happiness on earth ain't just for high achievers. I come to know there's life at both ends of that red dirt road. Her daddy didn't like me much. In my shackled up GTO, I'd sneak out in the middle of the night, throw rocks at her bedroom window. We'd turn out the headlights, drive by the moonlight, talk about what the future might hold down that red dirt road. It's where I drank my first beer. It's where I found Jesus. Where I wrecked my first car. I tore it all to pieces. I learned the path to heaven is full of sinners and believers. Learned that happiness on earth ain't just for high achievers. I come to know there's life at both ends of that red dirt road. I went out into the world and I came back in. I lost Mary, oh, I got her back again. And driving home tonight feels like I found a long lost friend. It's where I drank my first beer. It's where I found Jesus. Where I wrecked my first car. I tore it all to pieces. I learned the path to heaven is full of sinners and believers. Learned that happiness on earth ain't just for high achievers. I come to know there's life at both ends of that red dirt road. Yes, I've learned, I come to know there's life at both ends, that red dirt road.
Sick of over-opinionated celebrity gossip and mindless, incessant, trivial commentary? Boy, are you in the wrong place. The Morning Show with Uncle Bill on BNNS Radio.
Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, chug, chug, chug. If this is how your car is sounding, you need to call 815-544-0537. That's right, my friends. Belvedere Auto Clinic, located 301 West Locust Street, Belvedere, Illinois. Call and ask for Tom. He can make your car run like new. That's right. Belvedere's best-kept little secret is Belvedere Auto Clinic. You need to call today, 815-544-0537. Come on, do it now.
looking to buy a vehicle or in need of repairs, State Street Auto Rebuilders specialise in restoration, street rod building, collision repair and towing, as well as being a used car dealership and rentals. Located at 420 Fairview Street, Belvedere, Illinois, State Street Auto Rebuilders have been in business since 1982. For quotes and service, telephone State Street Auto Rebuilders on area code 815-544-7013.
Is there anything we won't do? Well, yeah, we won't hide the truth. We tell it like it is. You can say you heard it on BNNS Radio and they'll be impressed. That's BNNSradio.com. The best of the best on the internet. BNNSradio.com.
And we are back, and currently we are sitting at 73 degrees with a few clouds in the sky. Lots of sunshine out there, 71% humidity. East winds are racking up at 7 miles per hour, and that's what it looks like for today, except it's going to jump to 85 degrees and some thunderstorms towards evening, and about an 80% chance of that taking place. But again, we'll see what happens when the time comes. But just be prepared if you decide to go out somewhere this evening. Take an umbrella with you just in case, so you don't get that precious little hairdo of yours all messed up. Also, want to remind you to go down and pay tribute to our sponsors and our supporters of BNNS Radio, like State Street Auto Rebuilders, Tom down there at Belvedere Auto Clinic, who, by the way, well, no, I'm not going to say it. Anyway, and also Countryside Market up in Poplar Grove, big sponsor of BNNS Radio. And we've got some other guys out there, people out there that sponsor us and support us. Katie's Hauling and, well, I'd have to go down the list and pull them up. But anyway, there's a lot of people out there that are sponsoring and supporting BNNS Radio. And you can do it by simply contacting 815-544-2967, and I'll discuss the details with you. Or if you just send me an email to bnnsradio@gmail.com and send me your contact information, I'll give you a personal call. You'll hear from me directly, and I will talk to you about ways in which you can sponsor or even become a part of the show. If you have aspirations of being on the radio, well, we can help you. If you're in the Belvedere, Boone County area and you want to be on the air, you have something special that you'd like to share, we do have some open slots in our programming, and we'll be more than happy to work with you and see if we can't, just like Diane, who is over there in Nottingham, does a show for us on Thursday nights called Weird News Weekly. And this week, tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, she's going to have a tribute to the Beatles. And so you definitely want to tune in at 6 o'clock tomorrow night to BNNS Radio. And if you're a Beatle fan, sorry, Diane, but I'm not a Beatle fan. I never have, never will be. But I do have a listener out there who is a diehard Beatle fan. And so I want to make sure that airs tomorrow night. And because of our technical difficulties we've been having with the software, I definitely will check in at 6 o'clock to make sure that it does go on, because I do know that we have some diehard Beatle fans out there that will surely enjoy the show. But see, just like Diane, we gave her time. She gets a whole hour here on BNNS Radio. You can do the same thing. If you have something interesting, I'm working with a woman right now to do her own show, and we're working on that. It's going to be a very inspirational show, and those types of things. It all takes place right here on BNNS Radio. And again, please patronize our wonderful sponsors. Tom will make your car run like new. Mr. Kidd will make it look like new, and we can get pretty much anything done for you out there if you just ask. And that's simply by calling 815-544-2967. If you have something you want to share with us on the air right now, give us a call. and we'll put you on air and you can voice your opinion, especially if you disagree with anything we've said about all these nutcakes out there that think that they can draw attention to themselves and make them a celebrity by being flamboyant, as Craig said. And, Hulk Hogan, his flamboyancy was ripping his T-shirt off, his undershirt off, whatever. And the famous mustache that he wore and so on and so forth. So, frustrating. So, we're back here live on the air. And, I just want to mention a little bit about, history. Are we erasing history by some of the antics that's going on? And why is it that America stands by and allows the taking down of statues that have stood for centuries, for years and years and years? And even over in some of our European countries and Asian countries, they're destroying granite stone statues that have been standing for years representing something or other. And I really can't believe that there's not more of an uprising of people. In fact, I just read an article of one person was arrested so far in the taking down of the statue at Charlottesville. I think that's where it was. They had on social media the coming down of that statue. And
Liz mentioned that, and I don't remember what it's called, a cliff that's got carvings in it. What's that,
Stone
Liz?
Mountain. That's the Stone Mountain Park mural. If you've ever been to Stone Mountain, it's a park.
No.
And there's a mural that's on the front of it.
Is it painted?
Nope, it's carved.
Like, how big is this thing?
Huge. It's huge.
Huge.
It's huge.
And what are they doing to it?
It's
they
on
want
the,
Go ahead, D.
It's on the scale, Craig, of Mount Rushmore.
Oh my goodness. Where's it at?
Stone Mountain, Georgia.
And again, you two people were trying to talk. What are they doing to it?
They're trying to have it obliterated. They literally want it removed.
Who's they?
They, as in these anti-statue people, these Confederate haters.
Don't we have somebody that can stop and file an injunction with the court to stop that action?
Well, what's been saving Stone Mountain is that Stone Mountain is a national park. So it's under federal regulation, not state.
Well,
right.
let's carry that on farther then. If they're going to they want to get rid of that Confederate stuff because of slavery and all that. We talked about earlier, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all that stuff. What about Mount Rushmore? So if they're going to get rid of Stone Mountain, do you want to blow up Mount Rushmore also?
Yeah, there are those that want to do it, and there's another group that's now trying to get Obama put on Mount Rushmore.
Which will never happen.
Never going to happen. You won't find enough carvers to get up there and do it.
The thing about
if anybody's face deserves to go on Mount Rushmore, it'd be Ronald Reagan.
Well, here's the thing. In the interim of, they know that having Mount Rushmore removed is like not happening. So what they're pushing for is to have the Mount Rushmore facility, the park, closed.
Well, that's not going to happen because that's money coming into the federal government, and they're not going to put up with that crap.
Well, hey, fair is fair. I mean, if we're going to allow them to tear down statues in cities all over, why not?
Yeah, but those statues aren't bringing in money. all it does is represent something that took place in history, and somebody created a statue to honor that event or that individual. And it costs somebody to put it up, but it's not bringing in any revenue. Anything that's going to bring in revenue, then you're going to see the government step in and put a stop to it.
So Stone Mountain, does it have a big park thing like Mount Rushmore has?
It dwarfs Mount Rushmore. Stone Mountain Park's a couple of 1,000 acres.
No. I'm talking about, you go up to Mount Rushmore. You've probably been up there, D, if you've been to Sioux City.
Yeah.
Okay, you know how they have the big visitor center and all that kind of stuff. Does Stone Mountain have that?
Oh, they've got a theme park. That's what I'm telling you. The whole facility of Stone Mountain dwarfs what they've got at Mount Rushmore. They've got a theme park. They've got pavilions. They've got a train that travels all the way around the park. They held Olympic venues out there. But regardless, I can tell you what's going to happen. Somebody's going to sneak in and try to blow it up, try to damage it. That's what's next. It's ridiculous because it serves. We've got a new situation here in Atlanta where they now want to change the name of East Confederate Drive. But I like what one gentleman said. Change the name. Still be the same street, same problems. Just different name street.
Right.
Changing the name ain't going to fix nothing.
You can try to hide it, but it's always going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he blatantly said on the news last night, I'm surprised they let it on. He said the name of the street does not cause the problems. It's the people that live here.
Well, I just had a story come across. It says breaking. Virginia governor and Charlottesville mayor has now allowed Antifa to raise their flag over Charlottesville.
What is Antifa?
That anti-fascist group, the social justice warriors. The group that's running around claiming they're fighting fascism by forcing fascism on everybody.
And they're going to raise their flag over what?
They raised the flag in Charlottesville where the riots were, and that young woman was killed when the guy rammed his car into the crowd, and of course Virginia, the governor of Virginia, is allowing the Antifa flag to be raised in Charlottesville.
It won't stay long.
Well, I don't know. Let me. Those are cheers of the Antifa flag being raised. The American flag is taken down, and the Antifa flag was raised. This Antifa flag is flying on the highest of 3 flagpoles where the American flag normally stands.
And now, because the mayor, because in my general humble opinion, the problems in Charlottesville started when Antifa showed up.
And they're blaming Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And
because he didn't...
Unless you denounce Trump, you're guilty of racism and being white supremacist.
Diane's asking if the girl that was killed was part of the group, which means what, the Antifa group, or is this somebody else? I've heard of the girl. There's a lot more to that. Her family's being threatened now, which is absolutely ridiculous to me.
What girl's family's being threatened?
The one that got killed.
The one that was killed in Charlottesville.
Was she Was she a fascist? Was she, I don't know, was she part of the Nazi group or whoever it was that was talking, or is she one? I don't get why her family's being threatened.
Well, because I think they're threatening to sue.
No, death threats. The family, her parents are receiving death threats.
From who?
The Nazi groups or the hate groups that are there. Which I don't understand. I don't know where the girl's stance was. All I know is I heard about her. So I don't know what side she sat on.
Well, let's be careful in reporting on that because we really don't know the true facts of that. Unless you can name your source, because I don't want it just to be some Facebook post or some Twitter post or something to set the because that's what we try to do here is to make sure that.
Let me qualify something here. I do not in any way like some of the people that were in that protest. I already have a bad history with neo-Nazis and skinheads. And we'll leave it at that. I don't like these organizations like the KKK and the white supremacists who tell me who I can and can't like, who I can and can't dislike. I don't agree with them. But from what I've read, they were actually a small part of what was out there. There were a lot of protesters that wanted to take the statue down, but they weren't Antifa. They weren't the anti-fascist group. They weren't social justice warriors. They were these Antifa and its offspring, from what I understand, were a small part of the other side.
Well, we all know, and we've mentioned it many times over, that the demonstration that went on in Charlottesville, well, I should clarify that. We haven't been talking on Charlottesville because it just occurred. But we've talked in the past that we know what's going on, because the demonstration, from what I've gotten, the Charlottesville demonstration was very peaceful. The city was not having any problem with anybody. There was no riots. There was no cause for harm in any way, shape, or form until the next day when people from out of town, from other locations, came in and started the problems.
Well, I can
and we reported on this many times, that it's always outside groups. I mean, I could hold a protest here in Belvedere. I could garner enough people in Belvedere right now to go downtown and hold a demonstration in front of City Hall that we are going to protest those aldermen that voted down the cafe, the sidewalk cafes. And it would be a peaceful protest. We would just be voicing our dislike for the city for not allowing sidewalk cafes. But when somebody else on the outside found out that we were having that demonstration, they could easily walk into Belvedere and start throwing rocks through windows and upturning cars and doing different things, and my group would get the blame for it. Because I'm the one that organized the demonstration. And see, and that's the sad part of it is that these people, and again, we don't know who's paying for all this, but there's been a lot of rumors, there's been a lot of speculation, there's been a lot of social media chit-chat that, there are George Soros, for one, is a big supporter and is trying to bring down America by paying these groups to go in and destroy communities. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't want to make it sound like I know the answer to that, but this is
how would he do that, Bill?
What's that?
You know, I've heard that before from Rush Limbaugh and from some of the others, that George Soros is paying these protesters to go in and do that kind of stuff. How would he be paying them? I mean, logistically, how would he be paying them? Depositing $1,000 in their bank account secretly? Slipping them a $500 bill?
No.
You know what I mean? How would he be doing it?
He gives large sums of money to certain organizations which then hire the protesters.
But how do they hire the protesters? They go down and say, hey, I've got $50. You want to go protest?
Craig. It's just like, okay, let's just take, for example, we have an organization called the Lions Club, for example. We're a peaceful organization. But if somebody offered to put $100 million into our coffers to go cause a little bit of problem, now the Lions Club would never do this. I probably using a bad example. Black Lives Matter. Let's just take the Black Panthers, the Black Lives Matter, the people that firmly believe that their culture is being oppressed and so on and so forth. So you offer to give the Black Lives Matter organization $1 million, and they'll do anything for that $1 million, because out of that $1 million, the organization grows and becomes stronger and can buy more amenities and so on and so forth. They can provide weapons. They can provide drugs. They can provide transportation to go to these communities and so on and so forth. And they give them the media. They give them the coverage, and that's what they're seeking.
You don't think that $1 million is be trackable, traceable, whatever you want to call it?
Oh, a lot of it is.
Okay, so then that would be proof that George Soros is although you have all kinds of dummy organizations and companies around the world, it's easy to hide where the exact money's coming from.
Exactly. I mean, look what they're doing to the Hillary Clinton Foundation.
Right. Good example.
You know, I mean, it's the same thing. We don't know exactly where they're claiming that most of her money came from Russia, Syria, and some of the other European and Asian nations and so on and so forth. But and again, this has been my argument all along, and we're getting down to the 5-minute mark here. But I've heard this complaint all over the place. Where is the proof? People can make statements and comments all day long. They can say anything and everything, whatever they want, because in this country, we firmly believe in freedom of speech. So you can say it all day long, and I don't care what people put on Facebook, social media, or anywhere else. Oh, it's over for Hillary. It's over for Wasserman. It's over for Pelosi, and blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on, but nothing ever seems to develop. They claim to have all this evidence and all this proof, but you never see a charge. You never see any actual paperwork, documents, or anything else to verify, but we're going to launch an investigation. And the investigation goes on so long that people lose interest, and it just quietly slips away.
Well, unfortunately, that's like our hero Trey Gowdy. Man, you should see the videos of where he just slams people in congressional committee hearings. But where does it go? It goes nowhere. He catches people in bald-faced lies, breaking laws, but where does it go? Nowhere. My take on this, guys, is don't get upset yet. Save it, because it's going to get worse.
Oh, I'm not upset.
No, what I'm saying is, for those people out there, Bill, don't get upset yet, because it's going to get worse. I would be surprised if this Antifa flag stays up long.
Oh, I don't think it'll be up. It caught media's attention. They showed the cheers. It's spreading on social media. But I would almost bet you that flag's not flying right now.
Well, The other thing is that...
Especially flying on the main mast of the American flag.
But see, the other thing is, how much longer are these city councils and these county commissions going to remove these statues before they put up something, oh, this was a famous man that blah, 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 and they come out the next morning and he's face planted in the dirt?
All right, that brings us down to the last of the 4.5 minutes of this week. And again, I want to thank Diane for being in with us this morning, and Peggy, she's left. She went to make her bread. Elizabeth, thanks for being in there with us today. Hope you can come back again soon, now that school's back on. Craig, thank you for your input. Big D, always a pleasure. God bless you, and you all have a great weekend, and please be patient with us as we work out our technical problems, and please pray for my tech guy who, his family has had a serious car accident. Please add him to your prayer list that everything is okay. I don't know the status, but let's just pray that everything's okay on that side of the fence and we get our problems worked out. In the meantime, y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy life. Don't let life bring you down. Don't let the liberals and the idiots bring you down to their level. Stay proud. Stay strong. Stand up, speak up, act up for what you believe in. There's always a second chance for everybody. God bless you. God bless America. God loves you. Always has and always will. Don't ever forget that. And I leave you with my final thought. Do you uncover the faults of people, or do you cover them with the unconditional love of God? You have a choice. God bless you, and we'll see you on Monday, Big D.
All right, this has been another 2 hours of the morning show. That's right, with Uncle Bill, the guy that knows all, sees all, hears all, and will tell you pretty much all of it. Our crack researcher, Craig, our producer, Miss Liz, always a pleasure to have her back in, and me, your co-host, Big D. That's right, I'm one guy, one camera, and I'm going to say something that's going to make somebody mad. Look at what I do to Uncle Bill on a daily basis. Hey, get out there and research. Make up your own mind. Do not let peer pressure decide what you should do, think, or believe. If you do, you will never, ever be happy because you'll never know what it is you're supposed to do. Hey, y'all take care. Remember, God loves you, so do we. Talk to you later. Be good. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Who's doing right to someone tonight? Whose car's parked next door? Don't even care anymore. It makes you wonder who's doing right to someone tonight. Whose car's parked next door?
You're listening to Belvedere's Network News and Sports Radio, bringing you the best in Internet radio. That's BNNSradio.com. All day, every day. BNNSradio.com. Stay tuned to BNNS Radio for more great shows like Cop Disclosure, The Morning Show with Uncle Bill, focused on mental health, and the ever-popular Belvedere Sports Huddle and Belvedere City Council. All here on BNNSradio.com and 87.9 on the FM dial. BNNS Radio. Radio of the future.